Hello everyone, welcome back to my kitchen for a delicious dessert recipe. Sometimes nothing sounds better than a simple sweet treat, so I decided to make this batch of vegan and gluten-free chocolate chip cookies. There's 9 delightful ingredients going into these cookies, so let's go through each of them one by one super quickly. First up, there's 1 cup of this gluten-free all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup of white granulated sugar, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 1/3 of a cup of vegan chocolate chips, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 4 tablespoons of unsweetened almond milk, 2 tablespoons of this coconut oil, which I've melted in my microwave, and finally 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. There's 7 easy steps to this chocolate chip cookie recipe, and I've linked the recipe down below in the description box in case you'd like to follow along with me and make these cookies yourself. Shout out to the author of this recipe. It's Chocolate Covered Katie. She is the OG vegan recipe queen. I remember when I went vegan 10 years ago, actually more than 10 years ago. Her website was the very first website I visited when I was first looking for vegan recipes and I didn't know where to start. It's an incredible resource, so definitely go and check out Chocolate Covered Katie. For step number 1, I'm gonna mix together all the dry ingredients in a bowl. Those ingredients include the gluten-free flour, the salt, the baking soda, the chocolate chips, and both of these sugars, the white granulated sugar and brown sugar. Then for step number 2, I'll mix in the remaining wet ingredients, so the coconut oil, the almond milk, and the vanilla extract. For step number 3, I'll form the cookie dough batter into one large ball in the mixing bowl, and I'll throw that bowl into my freezer for about 1 hour to chill. For step number 4, I'll take the cookie dough out of my freezer and I'll form cookie dough balls. I'll be putting them onto a lined baking sheet right here, and I have that baking sheet all ready to go on my stovetop. For step number 5, I'll put the baking sheet with the cookie dough balls into my oven and bake them for 11 minutes at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. For step number 6, I'll remove the baking sheet from the oven and let the cookies cool for about 15 minutes. And then for step number 7, I'll plate up the chocolate chip cookies right here at my countertop, dig in, and let you know what I think. That's your SparkNotes version of this chocolate chip cookie recipe. It's so easy. I love it so much. So let's get started making the cookie dough. The cookies are cooled off. I actually pop them in my freezer for a few minutes just to speed up the cooling time. Anyways, let's get you a close-up of these cute little chocolate chip cookies. I mean, aren't they just precious? If you're baking for a large group of people and you want to have more cookies on hand, you can definitely 2x or 3x this recipe, so you have about 3 dozen of these instead of just 12. These are reminding me of the Sweet Martha's chocolate chip cookies that are sold at the Minnesota State Fair. I'm not going to be going to the fair this year. It's very sad, but also I have a really fun trip planned, so it's okay. Sweet Martha's cookies definitely set the standard. They're the best chocolate chip cookies I've ever had in my entire life. They're just legendary. I don't think these will be quite as amazing as those, but honestly, they still look incredible. So I'm gonna dig in and see what they taste like. Let's go with a nice big one, and I can see lots of chocolate chips, so cheers through the camera. Oh my gosh, that's so good. I want to do a close-up, you know, in those cookie commercials where they're like tearing the cookie and you can see the melted chocolate and the dough. And I prefer my cookies to be a bit melty and soft in the middle. I really don't like super crunchy cookies. If you wanted these cookies to be a bit crispier, you could definitely leave them in the oven for a few more minutes, but that's definitely not my style. When it comes to cookies, I want them to be chewy, gooey with melted chocolate. There's very few things I can think of that are as charming, as classic, and have as many happy memories associated with them as chocolate chip cookies. They're such a winner. I haven't had them in ages though. It may actually have been a year because I did go to the Minnesota State Fair last summer and I do remember eating Sweet Martha's chocolate chip cookies. So I really do think it's been that long, and these are very close. They are very good, and so I think they're a decent substitute this year for Sweet Martha's cookies since I will not be going to the Great Minnesota Get Together. That's everything for today's chocolate chip cookie recipe episode. Let me know what you thought of this recipe in the comments section. Before I sign off, I want to highlight 2 recipes that I've linked for you at the end of this video. They're both chocolatey, and I think if you like this recipe, you would like those recipes as well. The first recipe is chocolate oatmeal no-bake cookies. They're really fun, and you don't even need to use your oven. And the second recipe isn't a cookie recipe. It's actually for muffins. It's chocolate, carrot, and zucchini muffins. I know it might sound a little bit strange, but trust me, they're so good. Those muffins are courtesy of the Run Fast Eat Slow cookbook. I've used that cookbook many times on this channel. I love that muffin recipe because yes, it's a little bit of a sweet treat and an indulgence, but you're also getting in a little bit of vegetables. All right, that's a wrap on this episode. So take care, my lovely foodies, eat well, and I will see you in the next episode on this channel. Bye!